Evening all. That was a bit tense, wasn't it? I'd booked a private slot on YouTube for this show, and with about 5 minutes to go, it told me there'd been a complaint of copyright infringement. So my own bloody songs. How can I complain about myself? Look, I've got 31 watching. We had just under 40 booked. So I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes. Sorry about this, but we are in a new world, aren't we? We are in a new world of technology. Oh, I've got the sun again. Look, a bloody lobster. 32 watching. So gradually people are picking up the links and spreading the word around. I hope you're all well. I hope you have survived the lockdown. You know, I've been spending days looking out of my window at the bleak darkness. And every now and then people lost and bereft and lonely would wander by looking desolate. So just like a day in the Lake District, really. Hi, Graham and Vanya. Thank you for putting this on. We're up to 34 now, 33. So let's just give it a couple more minutes before the music starts. It's only 2 minutes past 8, so let's assume I'm noodling around and tuning up and doing all that sort of nonsense stuff. So Vicky is now just telling me my YouTube video has been removed. I know, Vicky, she's my agent. I know. I'm not going to respond to her. I hope she doesn't phone. That would be a disaster because I'm streaming through my iPhone. So Amanda, if you can tell her what's going on. So we're on the show of hands. Live, so it's same quality, I hope, same songs. What are we up to? 35. We're getting there bit by bit by bit. So let's just give it a couple more minutes. Let's just imagine that there's some people have walked in the back and there's not many seats. And hi, Heather from New Zealand. What on earth is the time there? Good grief, let me just scroll on. 20. I would have got up early to play for you if I'd known you were streaming from New Zealand, up to 35, 36. So let's imagine that everyone is sitting patiently and there's a few latecomers, you know, and they're the sort of like fussy people that are looking around the room and they don't know where to put their coats and all that sort of thing. And I'm waiting by the side of the stage to sort of like start and be introduced. So 36, so we're getting there now. I'll give it one more minute, then I'm going to start. And yeah. So now I'm just off stage. I'm having one last sip. I'm just adjusting my clothes and my hair, of course. And one last look in the mirror. 37. We're getting there now. I think we're only 4 away from capacity. And maybe some couples have bought 2 tickets. That'd be generous of them, wouldn't it? So, yeah. 1 minute to go. It's 4 minutes past. I'm only 5 minutes late. Give me a break, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'll play for about 45 minutes and then we'll have a 10-minute break, take you up to about 9 o'clock. Then I do another 45, but I always overrun. We're up to 40 now, so that's basically a quorum. So when we're up to, from 9 o'clock, maybe 45, 50 minutes, then let me just get changed, you know, and then imagine I'm coming out to say hello in a Zoom room meeting. Zoom is terrible quality, which is why I'm doing it through YouTube. So I'd say now everybody is virtually present and correct. Oh, somebody's left. somebody tuned in and went, oh, I don't like the look of that. So anyway. Johnny's heading for the big time. He's gonna move to town, make a few connections, get his face around. He said, forget about these backwoods, I know that driving through the night, you're heading down the wrong road. Now watch me do it right. On my shoulders to the door, and all I gotta do is push. I don't worry anymore, I beat about the bush, I just beat about. So he waited in doorways, he rang the right bells, wasn't flying, he was falling, but he couldn't tell. And now he's joined a corporation. He begs, he borrows and he lends. He's back driving round the country, selling to his friends. He said, my shoulders to the door. All I gotta do is push. Don't have time anymore to beat about the bush. I just beat about some hotel in the Midlands. We met in a bar, talked a bit about the business, talked a bit about cars and guitars, and then he started getting restless. He kept looking at the clock. He said, man, how long are you gonna give this? One day you gotta stop. I said, it's 5 years before your fingers go where you want them to. 3 years to find the right voice and to sing in tune. 2 years of asking questions. Is there one thing you really want to say? It's half a life of preparation, half a life to make it pay. Now my shoulders to the door. All I gotta do is push. I don't worry anymore. I beat about the bush. I set my shoulders to the door. And all I gotta do is push. I don't worry anymore. I beat about the bush. I just beat about. Now this song was written a while ago. It was really a metaphor for touring. And one of our friends who opted out years ago and wanted to become famous. And at this point in the song, when I play it live, I normally talk about where I was last night and the night before, and where I'm going to be tomorrow and the next day. So it's rather changed its nature, because last night I was here, and tomorrow I'm going to be here, and the next night I shall be playing here. Maybe next week might be a slight change. So it's the first time in about 25 years I've spent so many days at home. I love it. Driving my wife mad. She says, can't you go and sleep in the shed? Can't you just go on tour anywhere? I just beat about, just beat about, just beat about it. Now I wonder if there's clapping out there in digital land. Maybe there is, you know, maybe something, that was all right, that's okay. It's very odd, isn't it, this whole experience of playing. It feels like, I'm not sure some musicians have got the tone right, you know. I don't think you can do gigs at people with this format, you know, with like headphones and a microphone and PA. The way I look at it, I'm sitting next to you on the sofa, just having a chat. Do you mind? That's the way I look at it. It's informal. There's no PA, there's no reverb, there's no effects. It's just me and some songs and stories, and I quite like that sort of tone. I wonder, I'm not sure if you can put messages up on the private live thing. You can put up a message. If you can put up a message, put one up just to tell me that it sounds all right, or give me a thumbs up or something like that. Let me see. Yeah, you sat on my cat. Oh, that's great. Sorry, Darren, I didn't mean to sat on your cat. So obviously, yeah, thank you. Oh, you're in the middle of the US. Whereabouts, chemistry? Rich, the last one, chemistry sky. Whereabouts? We had someone from New York on Monday. and that was midday. Oh, it sounds great. Thank you, everyone. That's great. Minneapolis. Hey, gosh. Yeah, it's the centre of the news world at the moment, isn't it? Anyway, maybe some more of that later. Sounds better than it does. Zoom is a nightmare for. Well, we will see later on, won't we? We'll see, because at the end of the night, I ask people for questions, and people go, "Times feel beer." I go, and I try and pretend. 7 adults trapped in lockdown together, eating hot ham and loving this. I can see people in their gardens, and some people, maybe you're on your yacht, who knows, somebody in down in Kiwi land. So yeah, okay. So what I'm noticing about these shows is that I'm singing songs that I've been singing for years, and suddenly particular lines become sort of resonant and relevant, and this is no exception. It's a cover version that I've been doing for ages, and see what you think of this. You will remember this one. Nobody on the road, nobody on the beach, except to Bournemouth. I feel it in the air, the summer's out of reach. Empty lake, empty street, the sun goes down alone. I'm driving by your house, though I know you're not home, and I can see you. Brown skin shining in the sun. You got the top pulled down and the radio on, baby. Now I can tell you my love for you will still be strong after the boys of summer have gone. Never will forget those nights. Wonder if it was a dream. Remember how you made me crazy. Remember how I made you scream. I just don't understand what happened to our love. But I'm gonna get you back. Gonna show you what I'm made of. Now I can see you. Brown skin shining in the sun. See you walking real slow and smiling at everyone. Now I can tell you my love for you will still be strong after the boys of summer have gone. Ooh. Out on the road today, saw a deadhead stick on a Cadillac. Little voice inside my head said, don't look back, you can never look back. Thought I knew what love was, what did I know? Those days are gone forever, I should just let them go. But I can see you, brown skin shining in the sun. You got your hair swept back in those Wayfarers on, baby. Now I can tell you my love for you will still be strong after the boys of summer have gone. after the boys of summer have gone. Boys of summer. What I've noticed about these shows is that when people applaud, got a bit creaky stool. When people applaud, it gives you a chance just to regain your composure a bit, because sometimes songs can be quite emotional. And during that period of applause, you got a chance just to reboot yourself. But when you haven't got that, you sometimes get lost in reflection, which is interesting. It's a whole new touring and performing sort of method, really. I think I've done enough live shows in the last 5 or 6 years to have a sort of repertoire of stories and techniques to tell, stories and songs. And I think you've got to get a bit more, maybe a few more stories when you do a show like this, rather than relentless pace of songs, because you're not working up, like there's not like an arc where you're working up to the sort of like the huge clapping sort of sing-along climax to a set, because it's not going to be like that, is it really? But whatever. At this time of the night, Phil would normally look at me to try and lift the mood slightly, because I've sung 2 sort of minor key songs. So I'll do something bluesy for you. I'll sing this for Bella, because I know she's up there in the lakes, and there's a request later on for you, love. But this one is called Sweet Bella. And most of these generic, it's funny the way that these generic bluesy songs like Carina Carina, Sweet Bella, they've got very simple sort of titles and choruses, because it's more the rhythm that's doing the work rather than the lyric. I mean, it's a groove. It's obviously not going to be reflective, sort of meaningful lyrics with a groove like this. That's my little riff that I based it on. What I can say, I mean, it'd be great if you sang along. I mean, I know you're not going to, but try it, and then maybe some of those people wandering by can look through the window, try and figure out exactly what's going on in your front room or in your garden. So, and this does feature, I think, my only guitar solo. I mean, how do I get to play solos with someone like Phil Beer around? It's embarrassing, isn't it? Because he's just going to sort of make me look silly. So I do play a sort of a solo. And if you're enjoying it, give me a round of applause. Then I'll feel better about myself and self-esteem and all that sort of thing. Chorus. Let me go, sweet Bella. Let me go. Let me go, sweet Bella. Let me go. And if you don't want my love, let me know. Honey, I'm knocking at your door. You hand me a flickering flame, but I want more, much more to glow. I need your love to keep me warm in the rain and snow. Below, it's deep, dark and wide. We let it flow, though my heart is breaking somewhere down below. Come on, let me go, sweet Bella. Let me go. Let me go, sweet Bella. Let me go. And if you don't want my love, let me know. Play, Steve. Come on, let's have it. Let's hear the applause. For 40 days and 40 nights, I'm waiting for that love light to glow. Maybe then I'll know that you'll let me give my dice one more throw. Let me go, sweet Bella, let me go. Let me go, sweet Bella. And if you don't want my love, let me know, sweet Bella. Thank you. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, everybody. Somebody from Germany also gave me a round of applause. Thank you. You've just redressed years of pain, because every night I cue bloody Phil, you know, Phil Beer on the fiddle, clap, 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 Phil Beer on the mandolin, Phil Beer on the quattro, Phil Beer on the slide guitar. He never goes like, big hand for Steve Knightley on good singing and hair tossing or anything like that. But I just have to take my comfort where I can. I'll sing a song called Whittingham Fair, which is a reworking of the classic Devonshire folk song. I'm down in Devon, I'm pretty good at my Devon accent personally. I'm not saying tis perfect, but tis pretty good. If you want to get the real North Exeter accent, it's Wurzel Gummidge, and that's any pastor thing come around here does, I remember I worked on a building site when I was a student. Like, it's bastard cold, isn't it, my bird? It's bastard cold, isn't it? Maids, I say maids rather than girls, and yeah, bastard cold. This here maid came around, this boy and his dog. These here boys and their dogs, little doggy. Anyway, I'll do Whittingham Fair, which, as I say, is a reworking of the classic Tom Pearson, and all the characters are in there. But this is darker. This is darker and doomier. It's reimagining Whittingham Fair as this stag night, and a young girl, rather than the mayor, is the victim. I still don't know what happens in this song. I believe Heathcliff-like, they possibly ended up as ghosts on the moor. But when I recorded it, I just was reading lyrics that I'd only just written. And I still hadn't had any chance to turn them into logical sense, but you can judge. So I'm going to take you up to Dartmoor, right? Dartmoor. The best way to get a good Devonian is to try ventriloquism. I've never said that before. What's he saying? I bastard don't know what he's talking about personally. But here we go. Whittingham Fair. It was early dawn when we met out on the hillside, on our way to Whittingham Fair, to drink ourselves dry, make a big noise there. 6 Devon lads and a younger boy, whose mother said, promise me now you'll watch for him. He's never slept out of home before, and you know too well there'll be trouble in store. I gave him my word and we crossed the moor. It was growing dark. We stopped at the inn where we saw her, fair-faced in the candlelight, such a fine sight with her long black hair. Young Billy stared and she stared right back, but the landlord said she's spoken for. So Billy said, leave me here alone, I'll meet you tomorrow on your way back home at the crossways at noon on the Whittingham Road. You go and I'll stay. He said, you lads go and I'll stay. I said, take my watch and my chain. We all hit the road again. 4 miles to the fairground. We had a fine time there. Next day came. We waited in the rain inn at the crossroads, but the boy never came. I said, you go home. I returned to the inn where the landlord said the last he'd seen was a boy and a girl out on the moor. That was all he knew, and he showed me the door. I called, I cried, God knows I tried, till the long night came. His mother flew at me, scratched my face. She called me names, said I was to blame, and asked would she ever see her sweet young son again. Ooh. Well, a year went by without one sign. I went back to that inn to see what I could find, but the wind was so cold on the moor that night. Thought I saw a couple in the pale moonlight, and the landlord said, you're back here again. But from his pocket hung down my watch and chain. Thomas sat down on a stone and I cried, knowing full well that the young lad died. Tom, lend me your grey mare. We're all going back to that inn on the road to Whittingham Fair. Siged, Bill and Jan and Peter and Dan, Harry and Pete down on the moors we'll meet. All along, down along, out along Lee. All along, down along, out along Lee. Whittingham Fair. Go back there, I'll put that quattro down there. It's funny, singing these songs, I have a reference point, don't I? Because the songs are all in the same key and the same notes. So I can compare singing them to how I was singing them a year ago. And this enforced lack of gigs has done wonders for my vocal cords. I was quite worried last year. I had a thing called a granuloma, which could have been malignant. It's a little lump on the vocal cord, but it's actually comes from clearing your throat and constantly coughing and constantly straining the voice. And it's like a little hardening at the top of the vocal cord, which feels like a bit of clag. So you keep wanting to clear it. So you may recall I was always clearing my throat. And the only cure for that is complete rest. So I can hear now, all that upper register is clearing up nicely. So that's one byproduct, isn't it? Also, I've learned how to bake bread. I bake a loaf of bread every day. I love it. Not a bloody bread machine, none of that nonsense. No, I bake it, in a proper oven. I made a boursin and rosemary savoury bread 2 days ago. A whole boursin cheese and chopped rosemary, and that was great. Family hated it; they wouldn't go near it, but I like it. So, and I chuck nuts in it. Here's a confession: I wanted to make a seeded loaf. So I wanted to try and get some mixed nuts, pumpkin seeds and linseed and what are the other sort of seeds? Pumpkin, all sorts of things I chucked in it. I didn't realise it was a bag of bird seed that my mum had bought, that Claire had bought from the local farm shop. So there's all this mixed bird seed that I chucked in. Nobody knows. They thought it tasted quite nice, but it was bird seed. Oh, and it's just seeds, isn't it? If the birds can eat it, I'm sure the bloody Knightleys can. Here's a song that is often requested, but when I look at it on the set list, I think, oh, it's going to be a bit of a strain. It's called Be Lucky, and it goes back to the early days of Show of Hands. I did go to a fortune teller. That much of the song is true, actually. Years and years ago, I went had my fortune told. At the Melplash show, and at that time I was in my early 40s. Didn't have kids, hadn't met Claire at that time. And I asked the lady in the caravan, I said, I don't know why, I said, will I ever have children? And she looked at me and she went, 3. Now I didn't fit the age profile for someone to make a guess like that. But she said, you will have 3. And I just thought that's a waste of a fiver. Turned out to be true. And now I'm feeding them birdseed loaves. So let me get in tune. There we go. Standard tuning, no fancy tuning. Be lucky. There's a difficult bit in 7/8, which I normally get wrong, and Miranda and Phil glare at me. I was 17 in a painted caravan where I went to get my fortune told. It was down on Haven Banks. I held out my hand asking, can you see what the future holds? And she said, be smart or lucky. And if you can't break the mold, break the rules. 'Cause you can make friends or money. But if you would be king, be cruel to those around you, those you love, those close. So I went out in the world. I lived in London town, and I found those streets, they weren't paved with gold. I looked up to a man, he never let me down. And he said, son, if you want this music sold, you should be smart or lucky. And if you can't break the mold, break the rules, you will make friends or money. But if you would be a king, be cruel. Those around you, listen up. 'Cause there is no clockwork in these stars. No one cares how good you are. Look around, the world is full of hungry souls who want it all. Space inside they have to fill. Friendship they're prepared to kill. Hunger is their guiding light. They claw, they scratch, they push, they fight. They want to be famous. They want to be someone. Well, it helps if you learn to play. It helps if you do 30,000 miles a year gigging. And then things just seem to fall into your lap, you know. Funny that, isn't it? And now I've come this far. People ask for clues. They say, how have you found the peace you've earned? It was one night in a bar, a young man on the move. He said, Steve, what's the one thing that you've learned? And I said, be smart or lucky. Do you want this prize? Will you freely sacrifice pride and your integrity for fortune and celebrity? Break the rules. Be cruel. Oh, but be lucky. Thank you. Thank you very much. There you go. That's that little bit of clag I was talking about. Good. So I think I'll play you my lockdown song, which I wrote about a month ago. It's called The Ride. My roadie Josh, many of you, if you've seen the solo show, would have seen Josh, tall, strapping lad, dark haired young man in his late 20s. His family have been involved in, I think, with the travelling community at some time or other. They've had static caravans. They may even had travellers on their land. And now they have like land near Wimple where they've put up a lot of static homes. And so he's overlapped with that community and also with the fairground community. So he knows a lot about the old fairground stuff. I think he's worked the fairground, the what do they call them? The tilts, the loads, as it were. So I said, Josh, I want to write a song about a father and son who own. Dad owns a fair, like but not like the big brash fair, the sort you see in village greens. You know, a bit more old fashioned. And he has to tell him that there's no work for the summer. And there might not be work for a while. So I said, Josh, can you give me some language, some references? So let me just I need to find the lyrics for this because I need to get the words right. He said, well, I'll give you some expressions and some fairground expressions. It will be in my lockdown projects folder, which I'm now opening, and there is The Ride. Here we go. And then I've got the lyrics. There we go, The Ride. He said, well, you need to get in the smell of the dust and diesel, because that is so evocative. You know, you need to get that reference in. He said, and you need to get in, we call them the winter yards, where we lay up the rides are actually called the loads. And you have the tilt and the flash. And the moving days. And I thought, this lovely poetic expressions, the moving days, the winter yards. And that's such a lovely metaphor for the lockdown, isn't it? You know, the gallopers. I said, is it carousels? He says, no, we call them gallopers and the bumper cars. And what else do we have? The tilt, the flash, which is the decoration around the bumper cars, and the marking out the ground. And I thought, like all these expressions, they sound like nightly song expressions. I've got to get the tuning right. Little tuning I'm using. G down to G flat. E down to D. Nearly there. So this is The Ride. Well, the old man called me in last night, told me he had lost the fight, and the only way to make it right was to close the old fair down. He said, I'm really sorry, son, I can pay you for the work you've done, But I won't keep you hanging on till summer rolls around. For 100 years the family worked these grounds. The county shows, the common land and the market towns. But now it's over. It's over. All locked down in our winter yards, the travelling life had left its scars on the gallopers and the bumper cars shining in the rain. And as we packed the gear away, I promised I'd be back one day. For one last ride I'd gladly pay to work these loads again. For I don't believe our way of life has passed. The smell of dust and diesel and the new mown grass are the tilt, the flash, the build up and the pulling down. I'll miss the moving days and the marking out the ground. If it's over, if it's over. So I'll head down to my brother's farm, where the winter work will keep me warm. Turn my collar to the northern storms and shelter till the spring. But there's one thing every showman knows: people will need a place to go. For a film, a fair, for a dance, a show where they can shout and sing. Then I'll drag my weary gaffer to his feet. When summer's here for dancing in the street. Oh, this lockdown winter yard is no place to hide. So step right up, walk this way. Everyone's a winner on that sweet day when we welcome back the ride. Welcome back the ride. Just about. There's the ride for you. So in a funny sort of way, I'm getting to do gigs, you know, and I'm getting feedback for gigs. So it's not so much that I'm missing the social side of it. I'm missing sort of hanging out, you know, places like Graham and Vanya's after the gig. I'm missing the sort of the crew, you know, the sort of the playground stuff, the immature, you know, stupid blokey stuff, you know, the banter, you know, hanging out, you know, Miranda and Phil. So it's that side, particularly when it's festival season and you know, Greenfields, the whole thing. So as much as the performing, I think it's that side that I'm starting to wish I was getting my fix of. So I'll play you one more song, then I'll say I overran obviously because we're 5 minutes late. So give me till about 9:05. You'll know because the screen will clear. What you're seeing is this little bit of paper, and I put that across there, and that's the that's the curtain. So when the paper curtain goes up, you'll see when it comes off. I can't turn the mic off, so you'll hear all the clicks and bangs. I think I'll finish up with the Bristol Slaver, which we've just done a new version of. I've only changed one line. I wrote this song about a slave captain about 2000. The only line I've changed is, I will drag your cold stone heart into the ocean. You know, and Colston and Colston seem like too good a poetry, too good a poetic line to miss out on. So And our friends at Stylo Rouge, who've done all of our graphic design for years, have got a fantastic lyric video. Check out the images on the lyric video. Rob has gone back to original sources. Some of the deck design, you know, some draftsman, some skilled person drew a plan of how you can maximize every square inch with a human body. And you realize the utter brutality of that trade. It's quite extraordinary. Anyway, check out the video. It's on our YouTube site. I'll see you after the break. Go and have a cup of tea. The thing is, I can drink more than normal because I'm not going anywhere, but so can you, you know. So at the end of the night, I'm sure, when I come to the Zoom room chat, there's people just go, yeah, well, that's really good, Steve. Bristol Slaver. From my house in Clifton, I see ships under sail through St. Paul's to the harbour. Tied up in the basin lie a dozen floating jails for profit and promotion. Oh no, no, I steer my Bristol slaver, selling lives across the ocean. Oh no, no, and no man on earth can save you. To my house in Clifton I bring capital from pain, trinkets to Africa, slaves to Jamaica, rum and tobacco back again and again and again, for profit and promotion. Oh no, no, I steer my Bristol slaver, selling lives across the ocean. Oh no, no, and no man on earth can save you. Oh no, off Cape Verde we lay at anchor. We are crammed from stem to stern. Soon we sail for Kingston, torn away from Africa, never to return. I curse this slaver, oh no, no, as we steer towards the west. He can sail seas forever, oh no, no, I pray his spirit never rests. No, never rest. We came here in the 50s on Windrush, and I grew up in St. Paul's. Last night I walked through Clifton. There was a voice in the darkness, a shadow on the wall, that whispered for profit and promotion. Oh no, no, I steer my Bristol slaver, selling lives across the ocean. Oh no, man on earth can save you from profit and promotion. Oh no, no, I steer my Bristol slaver, I sold lives over the ocean. Oh no, no, and no man on earth can save you. Oh no, your cold stone heart Thanks, folks. Give me about a quarter of an hour. But when the screen clears, it'll be me again. Up goes my curtain. Ta-da! I'm back. Make a few little adjustments. Still look a bit like a lobster, don't I? I wonder if I should turn the lighting down. No, that's all right. How you doing? All right? Give me a thumbs up if you're connected and you can hear me, so I know I can continue. Cheers, everybody. There we go. Thank you, Richard. This is a request. Bella, your kids wanted to hear Swift and Bold, or Swift and Bowed, as they say down here in Devon. Can I show you something? Look at this. This is my 6 Rifles Honorary Rifleman Beret. I was awarded this 2 years ago by the commanding officer of 6 Rifles for my contribution to the regimental musical tradition, because I wrote a song for a big open day. Big Wyvern Barracks is just about a mile up the road, just outside Exeter. It's been the home of the Devonshire Regiment for about 200 years, and now it's the home of the Rifles, who are an amalgamation of the Dorset Regiment. My grandfather was in, Phil's granddad was in the Devonshires, and his granddad. It's an amalgamation of the Dorsets, the Devonshires, yes, the Royal Green Jackets, and the Gloucesters and the Worcesters, I think. And my stepbrother was a Royal Green Jacket, so I remember him. That's the Royal Green Jacket cap badge. I remember him coming home with that, the famous bugle of. The Green Jackets, they marched double time, and their motto was swift and bold. Now, it could be Cella et Audax or Cella et Audax. I don't know the exact pronunciation of the Latin, because they don't bastards speak it round here, do them? So I sing Cella et Audax. Cella et Audax, swift and bold. And that's what you're going to sing. They marched double time. So General Wolfe at the Mount Abraham at the Battle of Quebec was so impressed by the speed of their deployment that he called them Cella et Audax, swift and bold. And they still march at double time. So I wrote a song for this big open day that the regiment had. So I Googled some stuff about General Sir John Moore, who designed the parade ground in Exeter. I Googled some stuff about Helmand and Afghanistan, and I got a little bit of Sharp's Rifles, All the Hills and All the Main. And a particular moving verse for me, lads from Devonshire's rolling hills held this trench and they hold it still, which refers to Mamet's copse on the First World War battlefield. So many Devonshire men died that the trench was just filled in and is a cemetery to this day. And that was the regiment, it looks like, my grandfather fought with, that particular regiment of the Devonshires. So the way this works, I sing a bit and you sing it back at me, okay? You are going to sing, aren't you? I said you are going to sing, aren't you? Good. So I sing, and you sing, Cella et Audax, swift and bold. Try that. Cella et Audax, swift and bold. Come on, nudge him. Give him a nudge in the ribs. Sorry, that side. Cella et Audax, swift and bold. Then I sing another bit. Cella et Audax, swift and bold. So it's that can't get easier than that. Okay? That's all I need to say about the song, because you're going to do most of the work, aren't you? 200 years behind the red brick wall, Cella et Audax, swift and bold. Drink to the health of old John Moore, Cella et Audax, swift and bold. From Waterloo to the Panther's Claw, drums will rattle and the bugles call, Cella et Audax, swift and bold. Swift and bold, swift and bold. The heart is steady and the line will hold. When history's written and tales are told, Cella et Audax. Not bad. Now what I do live, I do this little thing, I go. and I cup my ear like that, and then you sing, okay? Try that. The kings of Basra wore their crowns, Jelleritauda, swift and bold. My helmet's barren and broken ground, Jelleritauda, swift and bold. O'er the hills and o'er the main, Jelleritauda, swift and bold. Flanders, Portugal and Spain, Jelleritauda, swift and bold. Swift and bold, swift and bold. If the heart is steady and the line will hold, when history's read and the tales are told, Jelleritauda, swift and bold. Hey! Quiet verse. The lads from Devonshire's rolling hills, they held this trench and they hold it still. Jelleritauda, swift and bold. 100 years behind the red ring wall, Jelleritauda. The bugles are up and the trumpets call, Jelleritauda, swift and bold. Swift and bold, the heart is steady and the line will hold, when histories are written and the tales are told, Jelleritauda, swift and bold. Swift and bold, swift and bold. If the heart is steady and the line will hold, when history's written and the tales are told, Jelleritauda, swift and bold. Histories are written and the tales are told, swift and bold. Shut. There you go. Oh, while we're in military mode, I think I'm going to sing a Richard Shindell song that I very, very rarely play. Let me just see if I can. You can tell it's a bit of Americana. Yeah, I think I'll play a song called Arrowhead. It's funny, I think for a lot of American writers, Richard refers to the Civil War in at least 3 songs that I know. And it's almost as if it occupies the same creative space that the Great War does for us, for American writers. It's still, the issues are still resonant, obviously, aren't they? You know, the legacy lingers on. And it's quite toxic right now, you know. Ordinary men who fought and sacrificed their lives on both sides. Forget the cause, but it was ordinary blokes in the front line. Mainly to support their friends and family in their communities. They weren't fighting for issues, I don't think, you know, not at the grassroots level. But anyway, let's not go down that route. But Richard's got some wonderful songs. Reunion Hill is one song. Love that song. Beautiful images in Reunion Hill. It reminds me of a writer called Ambrose Bierce, who wrote some amazing short stories. He was a contemporary of Dickens, I think. But this is, Richard's got some cousins in Macon County. And it mentions Macon County. I need to get the lyrics up for this. This is the classic drummer boy song. You know, the kid who's too young to enlist. And somehow he ends up on the front line. And then the realities of the conflict start to occur to him. So what I like about this, it's got that lovely generic American drive to it, you know. So even before I sing a note, like the bluesy stuff earlier, it's got that sort of structure that draws you in. I'll play it on the tenor guitar. Let's just think. Mama, if you could see me now. It's almost like that country rock. I'm not the boy you knew in Macon Town. I may even do some accent modification. Got a uniform about my size. It's a little big, I guess, but that's all right. It's so easy to sing in an American house. So alright, it just flows. Particularly when you do the gravelly stuff. You know, you don't open your mouth so much, or you don't have to intonate so precisely. It just seems to come out. It's got character, isn't it? Anyway, so I'll put on this genuine little harmonica here. Got to get it dead right. If you don't get the angle right, you find yourself leaning towards it, and it's like a donkey with a carrot. It goes away from you all the time. So. So this is Richard Shindell's Arrowhead. Hey mama, if you could see me now, I'm not the boy you knew in Macon town. They found a uniform about my size. It's a little big, I guess, but that's alright. Mama, if you should see me now. Hey, mama, they're treating me right well. I'm the man who'll say I got this good luck spell. I am the mascot of the 3rd Brigade. They will not march unless I lead the way. Mama, they're treating me right well. Treating me right well. Hey mama, I do not have a gun. I'm only lucky when I'm banging on my drum. I skinned a rabbit for the cook last night. He said I could keep his Bowie knife. Hey mama, I do not have a gun. Mama, I do not have a gun. Hey mama, I lost my arrowhead. It was big enough to strike a bobcat dead. Must have fallen when I climbed that tree. Yankee fires as far as I could see. Hey mama, I lost my arrowhead. Hey mama, the troops are falling in. We must move while we've still got the wind. The scouts are fanning out like whippoorwills. Today we're marching over bloody hills. Mama, the troops are falling in. Hey mama, I never thought I'd run. Something happened when I saw those Yankees come. I've been running now for a week or two. I'm too ashamed to come on home to you. Mama, I never thought I'd run. Hey mama, I never thought I'd run. Hey, hey. Hey mama, never thought I'd run. And if it was live, I'd go 3, 4. Do the classic Springsteen-y false ending. Oh, I can really get into other people's songs sometimes. But Richard's writing is so sweet, isn't it? I did You Stay Here the other night, and I do Reunion Hill quite often. Thank you, Bean. Thank you for the song. Cheers, everyone. I'm drinking rosé tonight, very pale rosé. Claire only likes pale rosé. I don't know why. She's got this insistence that it has to be pale. So loads of people are tuning in to Mr. Beer's question and answer sessions. Quite amazed. Fantastic, isn't it? Phil sort of locked himself away, like he went into his cave, and it's like he comes to the mouth of the cave and shouts incoherently and then goes back inside. So we are planning some stuff, though. We're putting a structure into place. I cannot see us touring this year. I don't believe we'll be allowed to. All the venues that we played are now a third the size, you know, if you think about social distancing. So until social distancing is ended, those original venues aren't viable in the way that they were. So we're looking at all sorts of strategies. We have a live album that's being mixed. And in September, we're hoping to get Cormac and Miranda and do a live show of the live album, but it'll be in a studio environment. And so look out for that. We're doing various things. We're desperately planning a structure so that we can be playing in the autumn and available in the autumn, and also making a living for the autumn, because basically our income stopped. It just stopped overnight. And I sort of knew it. I sort of knew on March the 16th. I knew a certain way of life had ended for a while. So I don't feel any grief about that. And I'm quite excited about the opportunity to reach more people in a way. But that particular structure that we had for the rest of the year, let's see what emerges in the spring, shall we? But as I say, if you can't go into a pub and raise your voice without being hoiked out, you certainly can't go into a room and start singing, can you? Who knows? My wife's a GP, and so I get, I get the lowdown. Okay, folks, I'm going to sing you a song. I'm going to sing you The Dive, I think. Yeah, I'll sing you The Dive. What I may have to do at some point is I may have to plug this phone in, which means disconnecting the mic. So the quality shouldn't make much difference, but if I can't afford to go to low power mode on the old iPhone, so I'll sing you a song called The Dive. Another father and son song. Happened just off Exmouth. I had some requests. Actually, I'll sing this from Helen, for Ian and Jill Walker. They wanted friends or captains, so I think The Dive will tick the box. They're friends of Helen, so this is for you guys. So, oh, that's a sweet tuning. One November's noon, we left the docks, heading southwest from Morecambe Rocks. My dad and me, our 9 to 5. He used to steer and I used to dive. So over the side I slowly went down, 100 below, to where the sea water's brown. But after an hour I got low on air. When I surfaced again, his boat wasn't there. My marker boy must have come untied and drifted away with his boat at its side. He looked at his watch, 3 miles to the south, and he turned back again, his heart in his mouth. Sun almost set. I cut loose the weights and I let fall my nets. The lights on the shore were shining bright and clear. The cold was drifting in and there was nobody near. Nobody near. Was there ever a rod, a reel or a line, so strong and true, so straight or so fine, as the tie that wound him through time and space, and he came out the darkness right to that place. Now we don't talk much about those days. Got 2 kids of my own now, with 1 on the way. But if they're to grow, and if they're to thrive, one day they'll go, and one day they'll dive. When they come up for light and for air, I hope someone's close, I hope someone's there. It's November noon, we're leaving the docks. My son and me, we're just off Auckland Rocks. Let's dive. Let's dive. You must break free. Let go. To grow. Let's dive. Thank you, folks. Listen, what I need to do now, I'm going to unplug the little lightning mic and plug in the power lead, because I don't want to lose power on the iPhone. You may notice a little rattle now. Possible. The quality probably isn't as rich, but just give me a thumbs up if you can still hear nice and bright and clear, will you? While I drink. All clear? All good? At least I know I'm not going to lose power. Great stuff. Thank you. I want to do AIG for you. I'll do AIG, but I'm going to do it in a slightly different way, because I quite got into the Richard intonations for Arrowhead. So I'm going to do a sort of like a slightly chunkier AIG. Well, not thrashier, but I'm going to do, normally I do. All I wanted was a home, but I'm going to do. I'm going to do it a bit more, it's a bit cooler. This would work well with Cormac, because he would go, but it gets a bit monotonous on your own. But I just thought, I so enjoyed the Americana of Arrowhead, I'm going to do it in a slightly sort of Springsteen-y way. Is that all right? Good. This was my last big Issues song. It was very easy to write this song because, I mean, Shooting the Bankers is ducks in a barrel, isn't it? Is that the ducks in? Is it ducks in a barrel? Yeah, I think it is. Yes, that's right. Yeah, fish in a basket, soup in a basket. All I wanted was a home and a roof over my head, somewhere I could call my own, feel safe in my bed. A storm of money raining down only touched the ground. With a loan I took I can't repay, and the pot of gold you found. At every trough you stop to feed. With your arrogance, your ignorance, and your greed. AIG. You know I never was a careful man. I spent more than I'm paid. But those with a little something saved, they are the ones that you betrayed. With your bonuses and expenses, you shoveled down your throat. You bit the hand that fed you. Oh man, I hope you choke. At every trough you stop to feed. With your and your. You're on your yacht, we're on our knees. With your ignorance and your greed. Ah, the toxic spring you tapped and sold, it poisoned every watering hose, and your probity you betrayed for gold. You did. Hey. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. When a working man stands in line, the market sets his price. He's got no feather bed, no golden egg, and no one pays him twice. Where's your thrift and your caution and your honest sound advice? You dealt yourself a winning hand and you loaded every dice. At every you too. Help me out. With your ignorance, your greed. You're on your yacht, we're on our knees. Through your arrogance, your ignorance, your greed. Hey! AIG, Lehman Brothers, Goldman Sachs, and the rest. I tell you what, if it sounds just as good without the expensive mic I bought, then I'm going to be a bit pissed off. I'm assuming it's not quite as rich, but you never know. You never know. It might be, I might have been fannying about and fussing with this little Shure mic for nothing. Anyway, let's not worry about that now. I've been looking forward to singing this song on this night. Not quite as good. No, I'm sure you're quite right, Chemistry Sky. I mean, it's I have done a test and it's not quite as good. Sorry about that. I've got to sort out the battery life on this blooming iPhone because it showed me a low power mode, which means I've probably got about 25 minutes left and I didn't want to risk it. Here's a song about hill farming. I was a great friend of the late John Wright. What a magnificent singer that guy was. And John, at one point, it was an interesting life. He was a guards officer, cavalryman. And he was also a hill farmer. And I wanted to write a song about that particular way of life. And just like Josh, who gave me reference and expressions, I got some from John one night over a drink in Holland, and I turned it into this song called Come By. Come by away. You know, the sheepdog expressions. So this is for all you lot in the lakes. And when I moved to Dorset from London, it was a week after Chernobyl, and they were very worried. In May 1986, they were very worried about the fallout. And I believe, I might be wrong, there are still some fields in North Wales and in the lakes that are considered slightly problematic. So again, it's another father and son song. One of my favourite poems when I was at school was Michael, about a shepherd in the lakes, you know. I believe the cottage was called the Evening Star because it was always lit up with work and late into the night. And Michael and his son would go out bringing the sheep and the lambs in. And so there's some sort of references, there's some tie-up between that poem, the Wordsworth poem, and eventually the evil city claims his son. And so there are some similarities. I've not thought of it as much, I've not thought upon it closely, but I can see I've borrowed some poetic images from Michael. My father found this land in the early 60s, and he led me by the hand across the endless fields. He made these hills his own, clearing every stone and the rain alone, ever a farmer. Our dogs would drive the flocks to the higher pasture, and I'd watch him choose the rocks to mend the dry stone walls. There was steel beneath the skin as he called the stragglers in, his voice lost on the wind. He was a farmer. Come on, away, come by, lie down. And in 1986, when the dark clouds gathered and the cold wind from the east blew dusted with decay on the great and on the small, well, it settled on us all. We watched the margins fall for the farmer. So where are the shearlings now to gather in the folds, to cut, to clip and to mark, when there's no fleece to be sold, and a life of learning skills out on these northern hills? Well, it barely pays the bills for a farmer. Come on, away, come by, lie down. So now he sits and stares into the distance, and I hear him climb the stairs, where restless in his sleep he stretches out his hands, and the dogs at his command Strong-eyed, they still work the land with the farmer. Come on away, come by and lie down. Good dog. I'll do. Thank you. Oh, as I say, quite get into the mood of these songs, don't you? When it's not broken up by applause. So I'm trying to do at least one of these little shows a week. You know, I think there's maybe 40, 45 people tonight. That's perfect. That is the equivalent of playing to 100 on the road. Once you take costs. My average village hall crowd is about 110, 120. So it's just a night. But as I say, when this is over, we'll have a little chat. If you've got a question for me on the Zoom room, it'd be nice. Anything at all, I don't mind. I can be quite candid because it's all between ourselves, isn't it? Really. Then I'll gladly try and answer any questions. But what I'm not going to get is the after show, that lovely feeling of putting the gear away and going back to someone's house, which in your case was just over the road, just there. Let me just orientate you a bit, shall I? So this is my garage studio. I am looking due west. That's due west. There is my house. There is the rugby and cricket pitch, not the Chiefs, Topsham. Then there is a row of houses. Then there's a River Exe, which is only about 400 yards away. And on the other side of the River Exe, there's the ship canal. Then there's about half a mile of marshland, and there do live Mr. Phil Beer in Exminster. So if I was to go up a ladder now onto the roof, I could shine a torch, and I could see Phil. He lives exactly west of me. That way north is the city of Exeter along the Exe River, and that way 5 or 6 miles is Exmouth. And all my family live up and down this river. My kids have got lots of cousins. We've all sort of drifted back to the West Country again, which is quite nice, really. So that's where I am. That's where my location is. And after this show, I shall probably sit in my studio and unwind, because the last thing Claire wants me to do is to come loafing in when she's watching some rom-com or Friends or something. And I say, well, it's just because you're there is so annoying. I'm not saying anything, I know, but you're just there. It's just there. You're just there in the house. Because since we've known each other for 20 odd years, I've been on the road for at least 3 days a week, and I drive away. Hi Dave, I didn't know you were tuning in, mate. It's great to. That was through you that I met John Wright in that night. That's amazing. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, that was in Snake, wasn't it? Yeah, John and I had a long drink in that pub by the canal, and he gave me all that reference for the. Good to hear from you, buddy. Okay. So, I'll play you Cousin Jack, if that's all right. And then I'm going to pretend to finish, and I'm going to walk out of view, and then I'll come back and play you an encore. Is that all right? So let's just do this as if it was a gig. And then I will turn off this particular portal, and then I shall go on to Zoom, and then I'll just probably change my shirt because it's a bit clammy tonight. It's very, very stormy down here. It's quite ominous. I'll play it on the tenor guitar. So this is Cousin Jack, which I think is possibly our most popular song. I never expected it to be like that. Thank you, Graham and Vanya, for putting on tonight's show. And I like these. I like these. The idea that it's centered around a community, but people from all over the world, from America and from down under, from Auckland and from Australia and from Holland. That's such a lovely thought. You don't get that, do you, at gigs? You know. So I like this, and I can live with it. I can bear this way of working for a while. For a while. This land is barren and broken, scarred like the face of the moon. our tongue is no longer spoken. Are the towns all around that face ruin? But will there be work in New Brunswick? Will I find gold in the Cape? I can tunnel way down to Australia, but I will never escape. Where there's a mine or a hole in the ground, that's where I'm headed for, that's where I'm bound. Look for me under the load or inside the vein. Where the copper, the clay, where the arsenic and tin run in your blood, they get under your skin. I'm leaving the county behind, and I'm not coming back. So follow me down, cousin Jack. The soil was too poor to make Eden. Granite and sea left no choice. Though visions of heaven sustained us, when John Wesley gave us a voice. Did Joseph once come to St. Michael's Mount? 2,000 years pass in a dream, 'cause we were working our way in the darkness, so deep in the heart of the sea. Where there's a mine or a hole in the ground, that's where I'm heading for, that's where I'm bound. Look for me under the load or inside the vein. Where the copper, the clay, where the arsenic and tin run in your blood, they get under your skin. I'm leaving the county behind, and I'm not coming back. So follow me down, cousin Jack, to Canada, to America, to South Africa, Australia, where there's a mine, a hole in the ground. From the Duchy they came, and from the West Devonshire, from the Tamar, in wave after wave after wave. I dream of a bridge across the Tamar. It opens us up to the east, and the English will live in these houses, and the Spanish fishing in our say. Where there's a mine or a hole in the ground, that's where I'm headed, that's where I'm bound. Look for me under the load or inside the vein. Where the copper, the clay, where the arsenic and tin run in your blood, they get under your skin. I'm leaving the county behind, and I'm not coming back. So follow me down, cousin Jack. Follow me down, cousin Jack. Follow me down, cousin Jack. Follow me down. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you. Just gonna go. Good night. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Good night. Cheers. You've been great. You've been an audience. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just gonna, right. Good night. Thank you. Oh, that was, what an unexpected pleasure that was. Thank you so much. You're so kind. No. Yes. No, you're very kind. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll play you one more song, and then, as I say, give me 10 minutes. I'll open the Zoom room. So if you want to, I did put the address. I'm just going to put it up there again now, I think, just so I can. There you go. That's the address. Not everybody wants to come and chat. Some people just like to be invisible and listen in. But it'd be nice if you've got a question. And I'll play you the final song I played live Monday, March the 16th. You know, some dates are forever etched upon your consciousness. I was in Colchester, and I just, with Jamie, we just got to the Colchester Arts Centre. We sold about 100 tickets. And they announced that the next day all venues or coffee bars or cinemas were closing. This is a week before the real lockdown. And people started cancelling tickets, but about 60 people were still coming. And this is about 6 o'clock. The venue said, well, look, do you want to do the show or not? And I said, well, if people turn up, you know, the show must go on. So we had about 60 or 70 in, and it was quite a cold night. And there was a funny atmosphere in the room because we felt that we were on the edge of some sort of change. I think people will look back on this like our grandparents, sort of the war, you know, before COVID and after COVID. It will be one of those periods that kids live through. Yeah, I'm still trying to process it all. I'm still trying to figure out what it all means for us. I think one thing it does mean, it gives me the opportunity to reach people I wouldn't normally be playing to. I've seen that even from tonight. So you can do me a favour. I've got lots and lots of these shows coming up, almost one a week. Tell your friends to buy a ticket. You know, tell your friends to sort of like tune in. I try and change the material and change the tone of it every night. So spread the word. That gives me a living. That gives me a living for the next how many months. So anyway, that particular night in Colchester, I said to Jamie, why don't you record the night? Because I had a feeling. I had a feeling in my bones that it would be a historical moment. And the final song I sung, I never played this one finished for a closer. It's called You'll Get By. And I did a very reflective, finger-picky version. Normally it's quite a chunky sort of song on the album. And we recorded it. And a week later, I sent the recording, that very recording, off to... if you need a password, you shouldn't need a password, but I'll send out the link again on this site. Don't worry about that if anybody hasn't got it. You shouldn't need a password. Should just be able to click on it. I'll do that after I finish playing. Is that okay? So anyway, this is the final song that I sung, and we put some images to it of NHS workers, and it's quite strong. It's called You'll Get By. Again, thank you very much. Enjoy my rosé. You'll get by. You build a life together, and it's shattered on the floor. Once again you're gathering up the pieces. The ship has come untethered, drifting free once more, and the ever-raging storm never ceases. Summon up your strength and lean upon the oars. I'll send you a dove, now strike out for the shore. You'll get by, you always do. For the wind that shakes the barley never touches you. Come on, sister, brother, don't you cry. You don't know it now, but you'll get by. Your best is not accepted, and your cries for help unheard. while all around unkindness gets rewarded. All your hopes and plans rejected, and you're forced to join the herd, while cynical indifference is applauded. You have walked this road before, you can walk it once again. Why should it break you now? 'Cause it didn't break you then. You'll get by, you always do. For the wind that shakes the barley never touches you. Come on, sister, brother, don't you cry. You don't know it now, but you'll get by. You are bruised but unbroken, you are bloody but unbowed, unsteady on your feet, but still standing. It's not the fame or the fortune or the rapture of the crowd, when you're fighting for respect and understanding. Oh, castle walls are falling and thieves are at the gate. They would take away our rights and our choices. False prophets are calling, singing out their hymns of hate, and silencing the land with siren voices. But the bully and the braggart, we can drag them from their thrones. We don't need those savage songs, we are loud enough alone. You'll get mine, you always do. And the wind that shakes the barley never touches you. Come on, sister, brother, don't you cry. You don't know it now. You don't know it now. You don't know it now, but you'll get by. You don't know it now, but you'll get by. Thanks, folks. I'll see you in a bit. I now end this stream.